मी आता
Yes,
पुन्हा
yes,
एकदा
yes.
स्टार्ट करतो.
Yes, yes, no problem.
Okay. Good afternoon, all. My name is Dr. Vikram Uttam Pandit. I am PG coordinator at Chemistry Department, Haribhai V. Desai College. I am along with Vaishnavi ma'am and Dhanashri ma'am invites you all for today's webinar. Today we have with us Science Faculty in charge Dr. Rajeshri Patwardhan ma'am. Today's resource person Dr. Sumit Kamble sir. Now I request ma'am to please guide us.
Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon. Yes, yes, yes.
Respected Principal Sir, Dr. Ganesh Raut, Coordinator of today's webinar, Dr. Vikram Pandit Sir, other colleagues, Vaishnavi and Dhanashri, teachers, and my dear students. In today's webinar on high value developments in chemistry, all of you will acquire the in-depth knowledge regarding this subject. All of us know that chemistry is applicable to every walk of life. The chemistry of microbes is one of the most important concerns of microbiologists like me. I completed my BSc microbiology in 1985 and MS in 1987, so it's a long journey. Developments in chemistry are essential to understand the roles of microorganisms in nature. How microorganisms, for example, today's dangerous enemy, COVID-19, it caused the disease. How the methods like RT-PCR, they are used for the diagnosis, how they are developed, how different high generation antibiotics and vaccines are produced to combat harmful effects of the dangerous microbes. To understand the mutations which occur in microorganisms and which change the world or which harms the world around us. Most of the activities of microorganisms like souring of milk due to production of lactic acid, photosynthesis in microbes, respiration, fermentation, decomposition of wood, they are the results of series of chemical reactions. So everything, everywhere, even though it is microbiology, zoology, botany, chemistry is very, very important. It plays very important role. During my PhD as well as during my postdoctoral work, I purified 2-hydroxy-1,4-naphthoquinone from Plumbago xylonica. In Marathi, it is called chitrak, pandra chitrak. So I purified it on the basis of different techniques like NMR, GCMS, FTIR, etc. I myself worked in organic chemistry department of Savitribai Phule Pune University for more than 6 months. Lawsome was identified and was first time reported as a compound which has plasmid curing activity. So it was used to combat against clinical drug resistance problem throughout the globe. So microbiology and chemistry always go hand in hand. The latest developments in chemistry have great potential in modern day therapeutics. On this particular background, we are fortunate to have our today's renowned guest, Dr. Sumit Kamble, scientist, CSIR, Gujarat. So I welcome him and I hand over my mic to Dhanashri. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Dhanashri Kore is here, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our today's guest. So, friend, joining us today, Dr. Sumit Kamble, sir. He is an eminent personality. We can say he is a young scientist. Sir completed his MSc from in organic chemistry from Shivaji University and PhD in synthetic chemistry from CSIR NCL Pune. He is research associated Marie Curie early stage researcher fellow from University Rovaria Virgili Tarragona from Spain. Sir awarded with the Dr. DSK postdoctorate fellowship, National Postdoctorate Fellowship, Senior Research Fellowship NET, Junior Research Fellowship NET. Also, he is GATE qualified. Sir having 11 research publication and one book chapter. Today, sir will share some points regarding with the high value development in chemistry. So once again, let's welcome Dr. Sumit Kamble. I request sir, please guide us about that. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for kind introduction. So, am I audible clearly?
Yes,
You are
yes.
audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, I'm just sharing my slides.
Yes.
Slides are there? No, I
Not
shared already. Okay, I will try once again.
Not yet.
Okay, so actually I'm sharing it, but I don't know why it is not sharing. Okay. I just
yes. Screen is visible now, sir.
only screen is visible, right? But
Yeah.
it is not useful, no? That the screen.
No, no,
will be
it's
visible.
changing now. You can start your PowerPoint presentation now. I think it will come.
Okay. Okay, now it is visible.
No, sir. It is not yet.
Not it,
Not yet.
because okay, I'm getting here. So presenting. Okay.
No, we can see the desktop only, folders in on desktop. So,
So
sir,
just
I think
That
you just open the presentation and then reshare again. Then it will
okay,
come.
because I opened it.
Yeah, yeah. You stop sharing now
Okay.
and open the presentation and then share the screen. Then it will work.
Okay, first I have to open it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it opened?
Now share the screen now, sir.
I'm sharing the screen, but okay, let's see. It's
Yeah, now
open.
it's in. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's visible, right?
Yes.
Fully visible, or it's
Yes,
partly
yes,
visible?
sir. Fully visible in presentation mode now. You
Okay,
can
okay, okay, okay. Sorry for this disturbance. First of all, I'm very thankful to Dr. Vikram Pandit. We met so many times when you were doing your PhD in the CIMET. Okay, and also I recognize that, and I remember that I have done your some GCMS spectras, right? So that time when you were student there. Now I'm very happy that you are in a very good college, and
yes.
you are pursuing your this passion for teaching. And firstly, I'm thankful to you, and also to the principal Raut sir for inviting me as a seminar for this wonderful seminar, which is a very essential topic in a chemistry, that is high valued development in chemistry. Okay, and I will basically focus on the catalysis, and I will just talk few things about the catalysis and some of my work on catalysis, a new way to see chemical transformations. Okay, everyone, maybe so many students are from postgraduates, so they don't know deeper in the catalysis, but it is again the way to develop a chemistry which is having high value by using this catalysis, right? And basically I will go through my work content with my inspirations, because everyone should have some inspiration. And who are my inspirations, that maybe you will know. Then about my institution, that is CSMCRI. Then little introduction about the catalysis. Then what research work done I have done. Then opportunities in chemical sciences. So let's see one by one. So my who is first inspiration? So you know who is the father of modern science, and he is none other than the Albert Einstein, and which is very favorite to all of us. But he is very special to me, because when I was in BSc, I was read his one book, very small book, and I gone through his research, and I was very overwhelmed. That okay, so that time I developed my instinct to do some research, and not I have decided to be a scientist, but yeah, I wanted to do some research. So it is very essential to MSc students. So without besides your textbook knowledge, you also gain some knowledge from the textbook, okay, other than textbook. So you will get definitely you will inspire by the things. But as you know, Einstein was basically a very genius person, and he developed E is equal to mc square, theory of relativities, then photoelectron effect, and also Brownian motion. He also got 2 Nobel prizes. But you will be surprised when I read, then I was also surprised that he in his earlier days as a childhood, he was suggested his IQ was below 100, and this was the IQ of idiot people. Okay, so there are some categories, that moron, idiot, and some basis on the development of the IQ. But after seeing his work, after when he died in some accident or something like that, and when his brain was preserved, and so many scientists were worked on his brain, and his actually IQ was 220, which is the highest value in the world or in the global which we know. Okay, so maximum IQ of the Einstein. So what we can take a lesson from him or inspiration from this instance? Suppose some students in MSc are very naughty. I know that, because I was also sometime I was lecturer in college, and I know master students are very naughty at that time, and they should be. But it is not essential that all the naughty students are not intelligent. Okay, so he was naughty, he was like a dumb, but he was very intelligent with IQ 220. So remember, today's master students may be tomorrow's scientists. So that I have to convey, and this he was my first inspiration in my BScs. And when I read some researchers, then I got one painting. Okay, and this painting was when I was in MSc. Then I was searching for one book, and this painting I got. And when I researched something, then I saw that this painting, this horse and this all painting is preserved in Mysore, because once I was in the MSc, our trip went there in Mysore, and near Mysore Palace there is a one museum. So here this photo was there, and this photo is from Tipu Sultan warrior against British in India in 18th century. Okay, and why this is inspiration for me also. But when I read Agnipank, then Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, everybody knew his name. So he was also looking this photo in a Mysore, this same, that is Mysore Palace, in his childhood. And he was not amazed with this photo of horse and this missile and everything, but he was amazed when there is a one black man which is carrying this something different weapon. Okay, and that weapon was a missile, right? This was first missile was developed in India, and this missile, it is not big, but it was used in war against British by the Tipu Sultan. So this idea of missile was first came from India, but he was ruler that time, but from the Tipu Sultan. Okay, so he was really think about what is this thing, and when he read Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, then he got that okay, so this was a missile used by this Tipu Sultan. So he started to think, and he decided that when I will be scientist, how we can use for not for the destructive but for the constructive purpose. And then he decided to work on the missile. Okay, and as you know, uh, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was born in a TN Rameshwaram, which is a very good pilgrim for India and scientists also. Okay, just wait a minute. So he was actually pilgrim for India and scientist. Due to this, so many scientists actually pray for APJ Abdul Kalam as our idol. So that's why for scientists. And also it is Rameshwaram is very near to us because one of our institute sub branch is in Mandapam, which is nearly here. You know that there is a Rameshwaram. Near to Rameshwaram, there is a Mandapam, and in Mandapam, we have our sub branch, which is actually working on the algal research. So I will explain you in the latter. And then this is history of the Abdul Kalam. Everybody know he done wonderful job. So he got 7 honorary doctorates from 40 universities. Then he is also awarded these civilian awards, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and Bharat Ratna. But what is remembering is that in his after his retirement as a former president, then he interacted with the students and engineering students, post-graduation students mostly, and maybe sometimes in Pune. I was also interacted in NCL with him, but not as a individual interaction, but in a group interaction. So what was his dream to India, or what he suggested to students? That is very important. So every student should understand this, to let every student to light up the sky with victory using their latent fire in the heart. Okay, so this was the message to student, that every student should be lighten up the sky with their knowledge. Okay, it is everything about knowledge with victory in their latent fire means the fire inside your heart. Okay, so with heart you have to take knowledge and produce a good work for the benefit of the human, and that is the symbol of the CSIR also, that we are also working with this science for the benefit of the peoples through everywhere, that is social, industrial, everything for India. Okay, and this is my second inspiration, and maybe if I'm not doubt, then so many are Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam is inspiration to everybody in this India. So what is my journey? So I will not go in detail, but just it is very interesting to know that is I have done my BSc in Tasgaon College, which is in Sangli, and I qualified NET and GATE, and then MSc Organic from Shivaji University, then PhD from CSR NCL, and as a Marie Curie early research stage fellow in Spain. But what is important, I just want to share one very little story. As you are in Pune, and in the 2006 in Diwali, because in 2005 Diwali, that time I was in BSc third year, and that time was Diwali. So I was in Pune that time. So I came from Sangli to Pune to see how NCL is looking. One of my auntie was there, and I don't know where is the NCL. But I was when I read these books and Einstein, so I developed an intent that I will see some labs. So because I like chemistry most, then I actually walked from Shivaji Nagar to NCL by walking, because I don't know which bus is going there, where is the auto. So I just asked, okay, where is this NCL? So somebody told me, you go to that side and you just and that was Saturday. That was my bad luck day. Okay, because on Saturday and Sunday in NCL there is a cleaning or something like that, and there is a holiday, so nobody allowed to go inside to visitors. And I was on gate, and I asked that one security force, so can you allow me to go inside? So he asked me, who you know inside? So I told I really don't know who is inside. So he told me, oh, today is Saturday, and we cannot allow you to go inside. And I thought for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I just look at the NCL from outside of gate, And I thought myself, okay, why they are not allowing me? But I just hold that thing there. I should have to go inside, but not as a visitor, but as a researcher. And then after 2 years, when I qualified NET and GATE, when I joined this NCL for PhD, then I was really overwhelmed that okay, so I thought I wanted to go as a researcher, and I really did it. So that was the intent. That was the intent behind your thinking. So if you think that you have to go, you will go as you think. Means I was selected in IIT Kanpur, I was selected in IISc Bangalore, but I don't know how I joined to NCL directly. Okay, so I joined NCL. So this was interesting story, and this is my suggestion to these post graduation students, that you think that you can do good research, or you will come to research by your heart, okay, not by your force. So you will get definitely a good research institute or good research. So now I am working as a scientist in Bhavnagar from September 2019, and this is our lab, which is named CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, and our lab name is Central Salt and Marine Chemicals Research Institute. So this lab is established in 10th April 1954, and here you will say this lab is in Gujarat, and although it is looking very near to Maharashtra, but it is something far away, because we have to uh, go to south to Gujarat. That's why it is from Maharashtra. Suppose Mumbai is here, then we have to go move from this to this side. So it is far. But when you come to Surat, then there is one Roro ferry, and you can easily connect with that from the sea. So sea will take 4.5 hours. So you will easily reach to Bhavnagar. And what is our vision when this institute was developed? Then vision was to work on the salt. Salt means stable NaCl, KCl, the salt which is coming from the sea, because this all Gujarat is having highest coastal area as compared to any other state of India. Okay, so Gujarat is largest producer of the salt. That's why the institute was developed to work on the salt and related chemicals, marine chemicals. But after that, so many divisions came with this time to time, and we also have a very sophisticated central instrumental facility, which is having 80 to 90 instruments which are used for the chemical research, any chemical research, biological research like this. So what is important? East coast of Gujarat is 1600 kilometer, which is covered in Gujarat. Then there are 41 ports, 1 major and 11 intermediate and 29 minor. So 41 ports are in Gujarat. That's why it is an industrial leader of India. Port means where you can to and fro the material in other countries or other states like this. And the world's largest ship breaking yard. Maybe you heard this. Words means from all over the world, ship breaking. The commercial ships or this consumable ships. So that ships are breaking into very pieces, and there is a huge market of that, which is coming, which is in the Alanga and which is in the Bhavnagar district. So it is again very important. Bhavnagar area is very important. It's very culturally developed, and it is very pleasant to live here. And it is the real part of Gujarat. It is not. It is in Saurashtra, and Saurashtra part is real part of the Gujarat. It was not initially directly into the Maharashtra. Next, in the overview of our CSIR CSMSR research, we have 8 divisions. We are working total 90 scientists. Now number may be changed, number may be increased. Then about 200 research fellows. Now maybe 20 research fellows will add this January. Then we have nearly about 200 publications per year with average impact factor of 5, more than 5. So in overview also I have to add that we are working on so many things, but our basic theme is seawater, and after that there is a catalysis, there is a RO division, salinity division, wasteland, and also seaweed cultivation is Mandapam, which is near to, as I told you, there is in Tamil Nadu, our sub-center, which is a big center, and here seaweed cultivation is developed. These are some of the pictures. This is our building, main building, okay, and this is also national heritage. So if anybody in Bhavnagar, you can anytime you can come and you can visit, because it is a national heritage building of this king, Bhavnagar king. And here on left side you can see, I'm just picture here one Yanmar, but there are 80 to 90 instruments. You can name and you will get instrument here, and which is central instrumental facility. So everybody can come from our division or our lab. Everybody can come and do research, and every instrument is having one operator. Then this is our back front. Then this is very important. We have 700 acres salt farm. As you know, we are eating this salt, and edible salt or non-edible salt. We have 700 acres salt farm. Okay, it is experimental salt farm, and we are actually working there to develop or to increase the yield of the salt, because as we are so many people, so many MSc students or so many people are from the farmer background, and in Bhavnagar or Saurashtra region, farming is not that much, because the land is very saline, it is coastal land, and mostly there is a very less amount of rain. So people are developing some salt farms, and they are producing salt as we are producing some crops. They are producing salt as a crop, and our agriculture researchers what are doing to how we can get the good yield of the crops, right? So here we are also trying how we are developing the system or the some changes advancement to get a good yield of the salt, so that the agaria, that is here we are called agaria in Gujarati, or in Hindi also. Agaria means who is working on the field of salt. These are agarias. So agaria will get the good quality salt with a good price, because salt price is very less. 1 year before it was 450 per ton, okay, raw salt. And now, but due to less rain or high rain, sorry, due to high rain and cyclone, there is a less salt production. So price is increased to 2000 or 2500. So if your salt is good, so it will be, they will get a good amount of price. Here you can see a big van, which is actually our desalination, mobile desalination van. And this van is very important when Maharashtra, recently in Maharashtra Chiplun, there was no water for drinking due to this flooding system, and our one van was there from Bhavnagar. We sent one, our director sent one van, and there we provided the for 5 days when the tide level was not decreased. So for 5 days we provided the clean water from this the water which is coming in the flood. Okay, because that time basic need is water, which is very primary need. Electricity is rather we can live without electricity, but we cannot drink this blackish water. So this van is totally RO fitted. It is self-sustained, self-energetic. So from the batteries and from generator, this van is actually creating the good water from blackish water, so drinkable water. And we provided five days continuously water to Chiplun people. And this was very good work. And here seaweed cultivation, maybe if you remember the last budget, then government allotted nearly about 1 lakh crore for the seaweed cultivation, because seaweed is a very important factor now. We can, because we have largest coastal area, and we are also having good cultivation division here, and we are cultivating the important seaweeds like sargassum or red algae. So we can extract some chemicals, we can extract some important pharmaceutical intermediates, and we can produce a good for the human health. And we are now here also on commercially, we are providing the technology to produce a very good algal production in a very less amount. You can see here there is a floating material, and on floating here is a algae. Okay, so this algae is now removed, and after removing, after some processing, you will get the compounds like arginine and so many compounds that will utilize for material synthesis or for the food grade synthesis, food grade plastic materials, etc. So if you see overall advancement to applications from the research, then CSM Sarai is the best example. And with this advancement to applications to humans or for the society, Now I'm very happy to tell you that our institutes in the total 37 CSIR, it is on the third rank in the social research to the application. Okay, so it is very good achievement, and we are now third, and even we are far more higher than the NCL. NCL is on the 5. I'm not comparing, but I really proud that I'm student of NCL. So I am here and I'm doing some research, but it is also, I'm also proud that I'm a part of the CSMCR and they are doing very well for social. Now we will see the main topic, that is catalysis, how chemical reactions can be driven or add values in the chemical reactions by using the catalysis. So what is catalysis? As you know, the John Jacob Berzelius, so he was in 18th century, he was very famous and he was very talented scientist who if you can see, you will got the various credits are on the Berzelius name. So he also defined what is catalysis. So the catalysis is the phenomenon of accelerating the rate of reaction by adding the substance. Okay, not any substance, but the substance which having capacity without changing itself after reaction. Okay, so in general term, this is the term actually coined by Berzelius as it is, but in simple phenomena, the catalysis is the use of a substance to accelerate the rate of reaction, and after completion of reaction, no change itself. Okay, that substance should not be changed themselves. So these are called the catalyst, and the phenomena is called the catalysis. Okay, so this you should have to remember. And why, how this catalysis can change the chemical transformations, that I will take in next slides. But you see who coined the catalysis term and who used catalysis in so many things. Like in this, you see the nanoflower, and this is the photocatalyst in the form of nanoflower. Okay, then gold oxidation. Berzelius was actually work on the gold oxidation catalyst. Also, you see Berzelius was identified silicon, selenium, thorium, and cerium. These elements were researched or discovered by this Berzelius. Then the students who were working under Berzelius also discovered lithium and vanadium. Okay, so most earth elements, means abundant earth elements, except thorium, and lithium. These elements were discovered in Berzelius lab. So it was very good invention, and he coined the catalysis. That's why I'm highlighting here. Now we'll see how catalysis work. Just in simple, I will not give detail, but just simple. Usage is photosynthesis process first. So what is photosynthesis? Which is a very natural catalytic process. If you remember why it is catalytic, then it works on the photocatalysis, and it is photosynthesis. In leaves, there is a chlorophyll, as you know, and chlorophyll is having some cells, mitochondrial cells. Then when this light is coming to the leaves, then the chlorophyll is activated. It is taking carbon dioxide and excreted oxygen, and with the production of carbohydrate. Okay, so every time it is taking carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen with taking of the light which is required, and by using the chlorophyll as a catalytic material. Suppose here we can see the cell is a catalytic material here, so it is a natural catalysis, and we cannot beat it. We are not beating the natural catalytic process of photosynthesis. You can try so many times, we can try so many times, but at least we are not even 0.1% to the natural catalysis of photosynthesis. Okay, so we'll see by taking from the nature how we define the energy diagram. Okay, so what is energy diagram? Is for activation energy, and I will just talk about the catalysis. When any reactant, we have to convert into product. Okay, so in chemistry, what is our ultimate aim? To get a one product, which is very important, and we have to react some reactants. Okay, substrates, we can say reactants or substrates. Suppose here is the energy which is increasing. Here is the progress of the reaction, or a reaction coordinate, we can say. So when there is no catalyst, then what happens? The reactant will be converted into products. There is no doubt, but the energy of activation or the energy required is very high, so that reaction rate is decreased. Okay, so reaction will be not faster. Suppose one reaction is coming into 15 days, it will take around 30, 40, 50 days. Okay. So if you don't add catalyst, then what happened when we added catalyst? Then what happened? Catalyst is having the role to accelerate the reaction. How? It will lowers the energy of activation of the reactants, or it produces better collision by the transition state or producing any intermediates. So energy of activation get decreased and products will form in a faster way by accelerating their rate of reaction. Okay. So what is role of catalyst nowadays is to lowers the energy of activation of the for the conversion of reactant to product. That's it. Okay. Now you just remember this only. So there are so many branches. Catalyst is divided into so many things. There is a chiral catalyst, photocatalyst, everything. But every catalyst is working on this basic principle. Now we'll just move to why catalytic reactions are so much good than the simple stoichiometric chemical transformations. So if you see the catalytic reactions, as I told you, which is not conjunct, but when you go to stoichiometric reagents, then these are conjunct. If you don't use catalytic, then reagents will consume. Okay, that's why catalytic reactions are important. The second, activation energy decreased, which is most important part. And what are the examples? Here, palladium, nickel, and Raney nickel. Raney nickel, you know, palladium and Raney nickel are the hydrogenating agents. And the Grignard is a reagent. Then lithium aluminum hydride is a reagent. Then sometimes we are using NaOH. This is also reagent base, or maybe sometimes it's catalytic, but generally it is used as a reagent base. Okay. So this is the simple differences between catalytic and stoichiometric reagents. So how we have to think now you just focus on the catalytic things. Now you know what are the drawbacks of the chemical transformations by using stoichiometric reagents. Now we'll see how catalytic reactions are performed in a better way. Okay, so on the basis of their use, there are some trends in catalysis, and I have divided these trends into three types. Like classical means just you have to take catalyst, you have to decrease the activation energy, and you have to do one reaction. Okay, by using simple catalyst like palladium on carbon, Raney nickel, or Haber process was the first catalytic reaction to production of the ammonia by using hydrogen and nitrogen and iron as a catalyst. Okay, so simple catalyst, it is a classical examples. But nowadays there are advancement in the catalyst. Means now classical catalysis is now moved with the help of classical also. They are utilized for the advanced applications, and now there are so many catalytic branches like organocatalysis. Now molecular organic frameworks and covalent organic frameworks are also used as a catalyst. There is a continuous flow catalysis, there is a photocatalysis, then also newly generated single atom catalysis, because as you know, atoms will not remain single, right? So it is very challenging task when atom to use as a catalyst in their single atom form. Okay, so it is challenging catalytic system, and which is coming under advanced. And then intelligent catalyst means nowadays 3D printing is a very important task, and some scientists are actually processing the material which will be used as a catalyst with depending on the reaction scheme, and they are now printed, means how much pore size they required and how many pores required. Okay, so on the basis of that they are preparing the catalyst in 3D printing, and in recent years you will see 3D printed catalyst will be the beneficial in all the ways. And also self-regenerated catalyst means the catalyst which will first reagent and then it will act as a catalyst, or the catalyst will act as a homogeneous, act as a heterogeneous, or will be working in the continuous flow, will be working in the batch flow. That is intelligent catalyst. Okay, so people are now moving from classical to advanced to intelligent. Intelligent is a future plan, but in advanced, this is very good work is going on in the advanced catalysis. Now let's see how I worked after in my PhD. So I will not go in detail, but I basically my topic was to synthesis of different heterogeneous catalyst as a acid catalyst, you may say, and to use for the different synthesis of very important chemicals like beams. Okay, this is the chemical which is anti-cancer agent, and you maybe know that cabbage, right? In cabbage there is one molecule. Here you just remove this pH, and this is diindolyl methane only with this indole ring CH2 and indole ring. This is very commercial product, and it is hormonal control product. Sorry, and you know that when there is acne or something like that, people are saying, okay, you just take this vapor of cabbage. Okay, you put some cabbage in the water and you just take vapor of that cabbage. So what happened? The diindolyl methane is coming out of that cabbage, and it will go into your body system, and it will control your hormone. Okay, so when you can eat the cabbage, then it is very helpful to control your hormonal deep bad stimulation. Okay, so it is a very important chemicals, and I prepared it. Then also I worked on the directization of alcohols, and this type of compounds are generally used in some of the anti-HIV drugs, that is AZT, which is prepared by these methods. And I also tried, and I successfully prepared this drug by this very simple method, convenient, by using heterogeneous catalyst. These papers are very good, published in a very good journals. Then again, I was also interested to work on the magnetically separable catalyst, which is again coming under advanced catalyst. So we have to put some compound in the magnetic core, and after reaction there is heterogeneous, having one big problem, that how we can separate by filtration. So in filtration there is some loss of the catalyst, so activity may be decreased. But in magnetic separation, we have to just put one magnet near the wall of our RB. Then catalyst will move to magnet, okay, from the wall, and you can easily decant your liquid or mother liquor, and you will get your product back, and you can catalyst easily. You can catalyst reuse your catalyst. Okay, so here also I developed 4 reactions by using one catalyst. This was very good research paper. You can read here, ChemCat. And I did for organic chemistry people, they can easily understand deacetylization from acetyl to aldehydes. Then Novengel condensation. Everybody maybe in first year analytical students will also was also learn this. Novengel condensation of aldehydes to their Novengel condensation to double bonded malonyl nitride. Then selective monohydration to the amides. Okay, only cyano, one of the cyano which is converted into amide, and this was due to spherical hindrance, or there is a geometric isomerism, and E form was very highly stable, so only one was going monohydration, and we got this cyanoacrylamides. And these cyanoacrylamides are very potent as an anti-cancer agent, because these chemicals, here you are seeing here double bond. Okay, so this double bond is very special. When it is going into the cancer cell, it was actually studied. So when it is going into the cancer cell, so serine is their proton, and which is having sulfur group CSH, and this sulfur is attack here, okay, on this double bond, because it is a very good Michael acceptor. It is attack here, and a temporary Michael reaction takes place. Okay, Michael adduct is formed, but this beauty of this compound is that it is again going to reversible Michael reaction. Okay, so in this cell division, okay, maybe if somebody is having biological background, then they can easily understand. When there is a cell division process, mitosis is there. That time the serine proton is attacked, and the cell division is stopped. Okay, and once the cell division is stopped, that cell will die, because if there is no proper cell division, cell will die their cells, and this compound is again regained and it is excreted. Okay, so it is very important to for the cell division restrictions to the cancer cells. So this study was very vast. Actually, I have not done, but I developed a process to synthesize this in a very on the heterogeneous catalyst in a very 4 reactions in a single step. And here you will see 3-indolyl as madam told us. So these are also coming under Lawson type of compounds. Here is only OH, and methoxy is there. But in this case, we prepared a direct coupling of the hydroquinones with indole to form a 3-indolyl, which is again a very particular compound. And one of the scientists in UK, purely he is now retired, but he was in his life 40 years worked on this type of compounds, because these are the highly anti-cancer agents. Okay, these are used as a anti-cancer agents, and these are extracted from some plants also. So this was also a very good example of catalysis, because two catalysts in a different phase are used. Two different physical state catalysts were used, two heterogeneous catalysts, and then I separated two mixtures like a sand and suppose you have sand and you have big uh, uh, some different material. Okay, so some two solids I have separated by using one by magnetic separation and one by filtration. Okay, so this paper was also particularly very good. So next I have done one name reaction, Hosomi-Sakura allylation, and the challenge was selectively homoallylation should be there. That is more useful to produce some of the nematocidal drugs. So nematocidal drugs means the drugs you know that roundworms in small children or in big children also, bigs also. So to kill that roundworms, nematocidal drugs are there. And this type of process we applied for the nematocidal drug synthesis. Okay, so one or two molecules we synthesized by using this process. Now this was the organic part, and then biomass transformation. Nowadays in advanced catalysis, not only organic reactions but the biomass. Biomass means the mass or the chemicals which are producing by using the plant materials or the from the nature. Okay, as you know, there is a sugar canes bagasse. From bagasse you will get the furfuryl alcohol, and here this was very challenging that furfuryl alcohol will be converted into gamma valractone. Gamma valractone is a fuel additive, which is a very good fuel additive in a biodiesel or in diesel. So our challenge was how we can convert this furfuryl alcohol to gamma valractone, which is a very commercial process, and we have done it very sophisticatedly into 68 to 95% yield. And this paper with the help of two different type of catalysts in a one reaction, single pot. And you may believe or not, this step was about 8 to 9 reactions in a row without changing a catalyst or without removing any substrate. These are 8 to 9 consecutive steps to convert to gamma electron. Means we have to add furfuryl alcohol, we have to add our two catalysts, we have to give hydrogen gas, and you will get this gamma electron in 60 to 95%. So it is a very single pot and cascade conversion. Then here you will see again blended, that is glycerol is again, you know, saponification reaction. In saponification, glycerin, you know, glycerin, glycerol is similar. So you are getting glycerin, and this glycerin is abundantly now in abundantly formed with the biodiesel production. Biodiesel is one of the alternative to diesel, because diesel is a crude oil, biodiesel is a sustainable, you can say sustainable diesel. So this during the formation of 100 kg of diesel, 10 kg of glycerin is produced. So as a byproduct even. Okay, so this byproduct is abundantly you know, retained over this world. So again we have to add its value to different and good chemicals. So glycerol will be converted into fuel additives differently. So this was very good that TTBG and DTBG, that is tertiary ethers, are very good, and it will actually increase the cetane number. This is the specialty of this type of chemicals. Octane number is there, that knocking off engine. The cetane number is the number when it is very highest. It will help to burn all the fuel in your engine. Okay, so how much it is helping to fuel to burn into the engine, that is the cetane number. So there was another challenge from the industry, that how you convert their CO2. It is a GAIL, you know, GAIL India is a very big company. So they given us a challenge that you convert the CO2 which is directly coming out of their system. Okay, GAIL is working on the gas oil company. Okay, and they are producing some they are having some refinery, and from that CO2 is a byproduct. But CO2 was not alone, it was having some carbon monoxide, nitrogen, H2S also. There was a big challenge that how the CO2 will directly react with the glycerol, and this work was done in my research associate in NCL. So our challenge was how we can develop a catalyst, because CO2 is likely a neutral, even it is a slightly bioacidic, but it's a neutral, nearly about neutral. Its energy required to activate is very high. So we have to combine a catalyst and again, our challenge was how we can work on the continuous flow. Continuous flow means we have to supply a CO2 from here. Here will be the catalyst bed, and then glycerol from another side. Okay, so from here glycerol, from here CO2, and here is a catalyst, and from here you should get this glycerol carbonate. And we were not that much successful, but from that gas 30 to 40% conversion of glycerol takes place, and we got about 18% selectivity of glycerol carbonate. Okay, this is something researcher based, but I also wish that MSc students should know something about research, because when we are taking interviews for this PhD, now so many people are appearing for PhD interviews, and they were not even touched with the research. Okay, so that is very bad part of master students. I'm not telling about Pune, because Pune YNCL is there, universities are, Pune University is there, so they have some touch, but so many students are even don't know what is research, and that's why I'm just going in detail. Otherwise, there is no need to go. And we step up chemistry, how we can mold the chemistry. People are only know theoretical, that is okay, Grignard reagent, hydrogenation reaction, like this. But people should also know that chemistry is not only this. Chemistry is very vast topic, and everybody, you can do anything, anything in this chemistry field. Okay, not restrict to this theoretical aspect. So here is an instrument which is a high throughput batch. You can put 6 reactions at a one time. Okay, so I also worked over this, and I am also now purchasing these only two reactions, two batch reactors, which can sustain nearly about nearly 20 bar pressure, and with 300 degrees Celsius. Okay, so you can do high pressure and high vapor reactions. Now just move to next work. Okay, so this is my recent publication from CSMCRI, and here I have worked on this synthesis of this type of moieties. You will see here this type of moieties, but beauty of this moiety is that I used only organocatalyst, no metal catalyst, because metals are metal is also non-sustainable source, because earth, you are getting the metal, you are accumulating in the earth, you are accumulating as a material, and earth will again having this drainage of this non-metal things. Okay, so there is no advanced catalysis that you can replace the metals with the organocatalyst. Okay, so I combine proline and also benzoic acid, and here again actually my interest is in cascade reaction. I like the cascade flow. Cascade means the reactions will happen in a one pot without separating the reaction intermediate. Okay, so here is also one novel condensation, another Michael condensation, Michael addition, and third is intramolecular hydroamidation. Okay, so this is one of the good paper in Organic Chemistry Frontiers, which is a very good journal of organic chemistry. You can search for this paper, and these molecules are highly fluorescent in nature. So even you can think that even there is a no conjugation here. Here is R group, which is again you can see benzene or methoxy or something like that. Alone will not show this conjugation, but there is no any conjugation. Even these are highly fluorescent. Okay, so when I search, and I also depicted this in my this paper, so you can see in detail. But here you see there is a aggregation behavior. Okay, there is a amide. See, it's a multifunctional group. CN is there, amide is there, OH is there, pH is there. Then it is very difficult to prepare a hexadiene. Okay, cyclohexadiene. Cyclodiene. Diene means cyclodecalene means there is a 6-membered ring attached with this restrained. Okay, it is very strained molecule. Even it is highly stable. Okay, due to this OH. So it is highly stable, and due to this OH, NH, CO, CN, these are forming some aggregation, very good aggregation. And when I did its one characterization, I am saying it is a helical structure, like DNA or DNA RNA having helical structure. So it is alpha helical structure. So this is my next study part, but this is having a very good spherical helical structure, and that's why it is showing a very good aggregation fluorescence. Okay, so this is fluorescent molecules. I will just move to this thing. So here I'm working. Also, I'm actually worked on this synthesis of very good intermediate. There are some drugs which can prepare by this using this intermediate, that is pitophenone and fenofibrate. in one step. Okay, just I am preparing these compounds, and you have to just add this, and you are getting this compound. Okay, this important drugs, and these drugs are both of these, pitofenone and fenofibrate. Pitofenone is used in so many creams. Okay, it is antifungal, dermatic diseases were cured by this pitofenone, and fenofibrate is a generally the, if there is a body is with high fats, then fenofibrate is used to reduce the body fat. Okay, so these both drugs were the best seller drugs in 2016, pitofenone, and 2018 fenofibrate. Okay, so I am developing some process to synthesis of this intermediate, so we will get the good price for these two drugs. Okay, and reported processes are having metal based, but I developed a process in which no metal will be used, and we will use the green oxidant and very metal free catalysis. So these are the good thing that we are replacing metal with the organocatalyst. So we will get benefit with the, because see, metals are not bad. Metals are ideally there. Metals shouldn't be there. Without metal we can't live. But its scope is limited. When we go to organic molecules, the scope to prepare the catalyst, scope to prepare the compounds is very, very high, unlimited. That's why we have to move in the catalysis from metal to organic catalyst. Okay, that is the reason. So this is again very challenging. I'm just highlighting some of the challenging works. Okay, so this is again challenging. You are eating the iodized salt, right? But our challenge was how we can use our chemistry to remove the iodine from the salt, and not from the salt, to produce a 80,000 ton of salt. Okay, so we have to produce a 80,000 ton of salt with iodine content less than 100 ppb, and you know, chloralkali and soda ash, you know, so soda ash, caustic soda and soda ash are industries are so many in Gujarat, so they require less than 100 ppb. I'm not telling ppm, it's ppb, parts per billion. Okay, parts per billion iodide or iodine in their salt. Okay, and this salt is actually carrying from seawater, because in Gujarat or in anywhere India, iodine is coming, but what we are eating, this is a fortified, means just yesterday we visited one Nirma industry. You know that Nirma is very famous industry, and yeah, so Nirma is the industry which is first detergent industry, which is in the Bhavnagar. Okay, so first detergent is in the Bhavnagar, prepared in Bhavnagar by Nirma. Nirma's biggest plant is here. So they actually produce this, and you know that Donalia praciata is one of the algae which is having capacity to produce the iodine or take the iodine from seawater to the salt. Okay, because we are producing salt from the seawater, we are evaporating in a some rates, and we are just moving from one to another pond, and that time this algae will not be killed, so this is going directly into salt, and these are contaminated with iodine. Okay, and this problem in the Rajkot, Rajasthan and Kutch region is very high, that is 900 ppb. And you know, the agrarias or the people who are actually working on the salt farm, they don't know chemistry about the chemistry of the what is chemistry behind that. So our challenge was to develop a chemistry and remove the hazardness between that, because to treat this to remove this iodine, there is one simple reaction. Here you can see we have to produce chlorine gas. That chlorine gas will oxidize this I minus, and I2 will remove, and I2 will remove. Okay, so that was our simple aim. But for this they used chlorine gas cylinders. Okay, how hazardous it is. So even there is a very little chlorine gas leakage in cylinder, because they are using direct cylinder. If they are using, if there is a small leakage, no, in a 5 or 10 minutes you will have a very headache, and maybe after some time you will fatal. Okay, so this is not good that the people were using chlorine gas. So first we have to motivate them, don't use chlorine gas, and our ultimate aim was to produce a chlorine gas in a very sophisticated manner, and the concentration which is very applicable, and not more concentration than the required. Okay, then we reacted two things, because see, it is a very basic chemistry which is used in swimming pool. They use this trichloroisocyanuric acid, and they just put in water. Okay, so slowly it releases chlorine gas, and that chlorine gas is actually kill the bacteria, viruses in the swimming pool water. This is swimming pool technique. Okay, But what was our aim? We have to treat this salt, not only salt, but seawater, and which was 18 million gallon seawater was treated to produce 80,000 ton. Okay, matlab 80,000 tons. Okay, 80,000 into 1,000. That much salt we have to produce, kilokgs of salt we have to produce, and for this we treated nearly about 1 ton, means 500 1 ton, 1 ton of 500 kg of this, 500 kg of HCl, 500 kg of isocyanuric acid, and by this very simple chemistry technique, by using this, here is HCl, dilute HCl 1:1, and here is this solid trichloroisocyanuric acid, and we added, and chlorine gas is produced, and which is directly flowing to this. We will just see how it is doing. Okay, so from this, here I am. I was very fortunate to part of this system where I was very happy to use the chemistry knowledge in a very ground level, because Agar is very happy. I will mention here one picture, so you will get. So chlorine is directly included into seawater. It is mixed. Here you can see mixing of seawater with our chlorine gas. This yellowish is a chlorine gas, and then this is a condenser pond, which is 1 kilometer per square condenser pond, where actually the seawater will go, and it will remain for nearly about 23 days to produce a salt. And after the production of salt, this is a salt. Okay, this is a salt with this algae, with this iodine, which is having nearly 900 ppb, and this is a salt which is produced after chlorine treatment. Okay, so iodine will remove, rest is a chlorine, which is actually combined with NaCl. So generally we are getting NaCl finally. And here you will see the salt which is produced by us after treating of chlorine gas, which is a very pure, means they people also think, oh, so we never saw this type of white salt. Okay, and this is a reddish salt which is untreated. So you can see how our chemistry is applicable. You have to just think, okay, where we can apply. There is a day-by-day life, there is a chemistry we can develop, we can apply, and you can also apply to big things, even to the small thing. Well, these are 5 crystallizers, means where actually salt is produced. So in 500 square meters, 5 crystallizers. So in this 80, here you will get 80,000 tons of this salt. Okay, that much salt we produced. And catalytic depolymer, which is having one of the project I sanctioned last year from the DST SARB, and it is for 3 years, which is costing around 42 lakhs. And here again, I'm just taking very challenging project, depolymerization of the plastics by using catalyst. Okay, now catalyst is not the limited scope. Catalyst you can use anywhere, and my aim is to break the, now I'm breaking the PET bottles. You know, you are drinking the water, you are crushing, and you are just throwing it in the dustbin. So drinking bottles, soda bottles, you know. So recently I developed a process in which I can use the catalyst, and I break the bonds, and I convert them into their monomers. And I'm very happy to say you that nearly about I have about 1 kg, 100 gram. I depolymerize these plastic bottles. Okay, I'm directly taking plastic bottles, I crush it, and I use the plastic bottles directly, and I'm getting 80% of product. Means if I'm getting 100 gram, then I'm getting 80% of their monomers, which is a very good catalytic reaction. Okay, so what is breaking here? So polymers are generally formed by the monomers by some reactions, condensation, addition, and something like that. So we just have to search the functional groups which are cleavable or which are hydrolyzable. You know, you are learning hydrolysis of bonds and esters and something like that, right? So here we have to hydrolyze them by using a particular typical catalyst, which catalyst we have to design by recognizing the functional groups which are present in the plastic material, and then we have to break. And now I'm very happy that I'm getting 80% yield of the PET to BHET. BHET is very good chemical. We can again form the PET or another very important chemicals and pharmaceuticals. So it is again very industrially viable process. And as I will tell you, in Pune also there are some companies are producing fuel from the plastic chemicals. This fuel is not that much quality, but they are also working on the plastic to fuel chemicals. And so this industry will grow very hugely in 2030. So if some MSc students are having intention to do business, so you can think of the plastic to chemicals. Okay, this is very good business in 2030. So if you think like this, then in 5 to 10 years you will develop a very good technique and you will get so many commercial values for this. Now I'm just coming to the last task, that is how we can come into CSIR. Okay, so many students may know how to come into CSIR because some are relevant with some of the friends. Your friends will be in the NCL, or they are working in the NCL as a PhD student, or some faculty members may but overall in CSIR you will come through GATE, and after MSc you can come to directly NET JRF for PhD, okay, or another national level exams, or as a project associate. Okay, you can first come as a project associate, and after having 1 or 2 publications or experience here in CSMCRI, it is very good that only 1 year experience is required to join as a PhD students on the project. Okay, if you don't have your own fellowship like NET or another fellowship, and you can directly come as a project associate for and after 1 year you will get admitted to PhD. And in NCL it is 2 years. You compulsory have to complete 2 years in CSR or NCL, and then you will apply for PhD and they will get the experience. So 1 to 2 year experience is required. And if you are GATE, then again you can directly admitted to project associate and you can entitle for PhD. But now there is a one change by UGC from next year. So it is very important, and it is note for the, or it is very highlighted point for the postgraduate MSc postgraduate student, is that from next who are intended to do research or PhD, please qualify your NET, because without NET LS or without NET JRF you are not admitted to PhD. Okay, this is an OM which is issued by UGC, and this is formulated in next year. So what you have to complete your NET LS or NET JRF. It's better that you try for NET JRF because you will get your fellowship. Fellowship is very high, that is 31 plus HRA, which is a very good amount. I was started with 12,000, then last fellowship was 25 plus HRA, but you are very lucky that you are getting 31, 35, and now maybe in next some month you will again increase the fellowship. Okay, so it is very good fellowship for research students. You can sustain, you can also help to your families. So this is very good opportunity. You work very hard for this CSIR JRF, which is not that much tough, and you can admit for PhD. So here you will see my our website. Okay, and you can contact our website. You can see the scientist profiles. You will also see how work is going in CSMCRI. Which type of work we have how many patents, different divisions. It is related with the biotechnology, it is related with the RO, that is polymer, then chemistry, then organic, green chemistry. Okay, so with this what I actually presented, this was not completed without my student. This is our corridor, this is main building. So this is our corridor, and I'm very grateful to our director, Dr. Kannan Srinivasan, for his encouragement. Means he is very enthusiastic to encourage the young scientists to do good research. He is very motivated, and he is always showing interest to do when scientists are doing new things. Then these 3 students, which are actually strength of my lab. So Ranjit More and Chuni Paura are from Maharashtra, and one Jasbir Kaur is from Punjab. So these 3 are working as a PhD student under me. Now I can have only one accommodation for PhD, so I can just accommodate only 4 students for PhD. And I'm also I'm also thankful for all the scientific and technical staffs. Then my funding agencies from my MSc, that is UGC, for PhD, and for the other fellowship, that DST SIRB now also, and for very good facility of the CSR for this lab and central facility. Okay, when you here is my website. Okay, and here is my mobile number. So if you have any queries, you can anytime you can contact me. Okay, then when you come to Bhavnagar sometimes, then it is very good. Even it is some drought, it is having some dry place, but there is a very good sanitary, that is Black Buck, which is very near, 30 kilometers from Bhavnagar. And in India, there are very two places where you will see these black bucks. In our salt farm, you will see the flamingos in 9 to 10 months. Just rainy season is dropped, and you will get the 10 months. The flamingos are there. The seagulls are also there. And from 150 kilometer, you will have Statue of Unity, and this is very uh, lovable place. This is actually now residential place, but this at the COVID time, here the king of this Bhavnagar, that king, he's not now king, but he is very honorary. So he actually given this whole palace as a COVID center. So that was very unique of this Bhavnagar, which it is very cultural and very supportive. And very near there is a Gir National Park, 150 kilometers. You can visit and you can see the lions. And here in Bhavnagar there is Victoria Park. You can see some animals. This is a Nilgai, Nilgai, and these are moving around in the Victoria Park. It is a very good park in the Bhavnagar, even it is very near to institute. Okay. So with that, I'm very thankful to all the committee members who arranged this very excellent seminar, and I'm very happy if there are some interactions with MSc students. If they have some questions, or if they wanted to ask me some queries, then it will be very thankful. And once again, thank you, Principal Sir, and also Vikram for giving this opportunity, okay, to put some my knowledge about this in this seminar. So thank you very much, Vikram. Yes.
Thank you, Sumit sir, for such a wonderful talk. You have covered so many things in so short time, and I know that students are like from same area from where you discovered this kind of knowledge, starting from Pune to now in Bhavnagar, and you are now scientist. So this will be very useful and encouraging for our students. Now, students, if you have any questions, you can ask to sir directly. You can just unmute yourself.
Okay, so I'm just requesting students. Okay, I'm also I was in Pune, and I know Pune students are very young and very dashing. So you don't think that, okay, so where how we can ask questions. So I'm always welcome stupid questions, no problem. If your question is stupid, I will not having any problem with that. Okay. No, you don't think your question is stupid. You just ask question. So if you think that my question will be stupid, then it is your failure. Okay. So your question will be question. You ask anything. Okay. Anything means about admission, about your research, how to get into PhD, what to do. If you have any questions, you can free to ask.
Sir, can we do job and PhD at the same time?
Actually, see, if you are, yeah, this is good question actually. If you are in industry, suppose you are in chemical industry, and there is a sponsored PhD program in CSIR also through ACSIR, but there are condition is that for our coursework study, they should have to allow you for 1.5 month, okay, 2 to 3 months maybe, and your company should be allowed to do PhD. That is the criteria. You can do job, you can do PhD, but you will get the only one salary. Okay, if your industry is sponsored, then you have to work yourself in industry, and you will get the salary from your industry. It is possible, but you are doing privately job, even you are doing privately, and you are taking JRF. This is not done. Either you have to take JRF, or even you are doing lectureship, you are taking some money from that, and you are doing PhD and you are taking JRF from that. It is also not acceptable. So either you completely do JRF. If you are JRF, then only do PhD. If you are not JRF, if you are working in the any company or in university and you don't have JRF, then you can apply through one channel, that is PATE exam, or even a CSR or CSR also having some exams, and you can admit to this PhD program. No problem. You can do, but condition is that you cannot take two financial this, no.
Any other
Thank
question?
you, sir.
Okay, now I don't think there are so many questions. See, what happened from last 2 years, these students, all they are attending online lectures only.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, and today also my students, they are, I think they completed more than 3 lectures.
Oh,
So this is like a little bit hectic, but
yeah,
still,
yeah, yeah.
the knowledge which they will learn or they will get from this particular webinar, that will be more than the I mean, we cannot express that in words.
Even,
Also,
yeah.
this
Even
webinar,
yes, yes.
yeah,
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 please,
yes,
please, please complete. Yeah.
yeah. So this webinar, we have started with the local level webinar. Then yesterday we had a state level webinar, and today we are having a national level webinar. And I'm telling to all the speakers that once this pandemic situation and COVID over, we would like to invite you in our college premises so that you our students will interact you directly. So we are just waiting for that.
Yes, yes, yes. That will definitely, definitely. No problem.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
very much, sir, for giving such a wonderful talk again. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, all the committee and Dr. Vikram. And we will also meet in your college, okay? Soon.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Thank you, everybody, and all the best for your examinations and future. Thank you. Now I can leave, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Vikram. Okay.